Both the Sinaloa Cartel and the Russian Mafia are notorious and have a huge history of contract killings, kidnappings, bribery, and trafficking. Let's now dive into the differences between the two and decide whether the Russian Mafia is stronger than the Sinaloa Cartel or not. Let's start by addressing what makes Pablo Escobar a cartel boss and Semyon Mogilevich a mafia mobster, and not the other way around. A cartel is technically a group which tries to control an already existing market or industry by shutting down competitors and controlling the prices. In our case, the Sinaloa Cartel controls the drug trade routes across the world, primarily the US-Mexico routes. Not only do they control the routes, but they compete against existing cartels like the Jalisco New Generation, Juarez Cartel, Tijuana, Gulf, etc. to maintain their rates. All their money is made through producing, distributing, and selling methamphetamine, heroin, and mostly fentanyl from Mexico to the USA. Then we have the Russian Mafia, which operates just like a regular business. The only difference is that their service is illegal, which is protection. The Russian Mafia cruises around town hustling the local business owners and takes a percentage of their profit. For a business owner, there's good news and bad news here. The bad news is it's a pay or die situation. The good news is there's no longer any worry of competitors in the neighborhood, because if there are, the Mafia will take care of them. They started in the Soviet era, when the police could no longer offer protection to the shops from theft, which is when the Mafia became highly in demand. No wonder they're nicknamed Vory v Zakon, which means thieves in law. And that's their sole mode of earning, racketeering. Well, that, and they also go into other businesses like drugs, prostitution, arms smuggling, etc. So if you think about it, the Russian Mafia is like the S&P 500. They've got their hands in many different areas at once, while the Sinaloa Cartel focuses on one area only. Another difference comes from how they operate as a group. Here's how the Sinaloa Cartel is structured. There are two leaders at the top, which share the same level as their associate who facilitates the movement. One level down, there are multiple lieutenants that run special groups of suppliers and hit squads. One leader also stays connected to the paramilitary force that's connected to the contracted gangs. Then we have the Russian Mafia that, unlike the cartel, follow a structure called the Bratva structure. In this structure, there is one boss called Hakan, who controls 4 criminal cells that are called brigadiers. Each brigadier has many bratoks who carry out the task. A little lower than them are shestyokas, who are the organization's errand boys. For bookkeeping, there's someone called Dershatel Obshachaka, who collects money and bribes from the brigadiers. Another difference comes from how they handle violence. You've seen enough mafia movies to know that the man in fancy suits nod along in front of each other, only to unleash their henchmen to do the dirty work later. The Mafia is a little more ethical and avoids killing bystanders, children, cops, women, or anyone who's not part of the conflict. The Sinaloa Cartel, however, are ruthless and inconsiderably move forward in beheading women and teens, hang bodies from bridges, and routinely kill civilians, judges, cops, and politicians. To understand who is the strongest of the two, it's time to watch them in action. For the Sinaloa Cartel, a true testament to their strength is found in the infamous Battle of Culiacan. It was October 2019. The son of the cartel kingpin Joaquin El Chapo Guzman was wanted in the United States for drug trafficking. After the Mexican National Guard got an extradition warrant from a U.S. judge, they stormed Guzman Lopez's house and arrested him. They thought it was a success, but now they were in cartel territory. All across Culiacan, 700 cartel gunmen started attacking the civilians, government, and military targets. There were towers of smoke rising from burning cars and vehicles. The cartel had all the ammo and armor needed to take multiple hostages until the authorities released Guzman, which they did. Mexican President Andres Manuel Lopez supported the decision of releasing Guzman, arguing that it prevented further loss of life. See how powerful they are? Now we move to the Russian Mafia's boss of the boss, Semyon Mogilevich, who's wanted by the FBI on accusations of, quote, weapons trafficking, contract murders, extortion, drug trafficking, and prostitution on an international scale. After serving his sentence from 2003 to 2008 in Russia on tax fraud, he was released on bail, since there's no extradition treaty with Russia. Later, he was placed on the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives in 2009 for his involvement in a complex, multi-million-dollar scheme that defrauded investors in the stock of his company, YBM Magnex International. The total amount embezzled is believed to be $150 million. Currently, the Department of State is offering a reward of up to $5 million for information leading to the arrest and/or conviction of Semyon Mogilevich. Moving on to the Sinaloa Cartel, we have an example of how they've successfully won a turf war and eliminated a rival cartel for good. It starts at the smuggling route to the border city of San Diego, which was predominantly used by the Tijuana Cartel until the Sinaloa Cartel came along. Guzman approached the leaders Ramon Arellano Felix and Benjamin and offered to work with them. After the offer was declined, the Sinaloa Cartel started trafficking drugs through their route. To retaliate, the brothers killed Guzman's envoy Raul Lopez publicly in a nightclub. That murder led to a series of ambushes and attempted killings, but only the members were dying. On the 8th of November, 1992, several Sinaloa Cartel hitmen in police uniforms massacred several Tijuana Cartel members in a nightclub. Poetic justice, right? To end it all, Guzman bribed a leader of a special forces team to track down Benjamin Arellano Felix and hunt him in exchange for $30,000 a month. They found him hiding in a safe house in Puebla, which ended the fight for good. After he was out of the picture, Guzman created the Sinaloa Federation, which also included members of the Juarez cartel. Now, this next event may very well be the final verdict on the Russian Mafia's strength. We've talked about how the Russian Mafia partnered with the Russian government. But what about the USA? Well, let's just say that without them, Donald Trump may not have been so rich. In 2017, a news piece from The New Republic alleged that Trump's real estate holdings have been used by Russian mobsters and oligarchs to launder money. To support this claim, let's take a look at some of the connections. In 1984, a Russian émigré named David Bogatin came to Manhattan with $6 million to buy not one, not two, but 5 luxury condos in Trump Tower. Donald Trump even attended the closing, along with Bogatin. Fast forward to 1987, Bogatin pled guilty to taking part in a massive gasoline bootlegging scheme with Russian mobsters. 5 condos were seized by the government, stating that he had purchased them to launder money, to shelter and hide assets. Looking at all this, we come back to the golden question. Is the Russian Mafia stronger than the Sinaloa Cartel? Who do you think would win in a fight between the Russian Mafia and the Sinaloa Cartel, assuming the Mafia plans to take on the US-Mexico drug trade routes? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.